Hey everyone, my name is Mrinal Kutteri. I am presently a first year MBBS student at AIIMS New Delhi and was joint AIR1 in NEET UG 2021. And when it comes to NEET preparation, I always would suggest that you come up with, devise your own strategy to prepare. But one thing which I believe is, more should be constant for everyone when it comes to that preparation is writing mock tests. Simply because there is no substitute for it. Like when it comes to, from where to study, there are so many sources, so many reference books and materials available, right? So there's just there you have choice because there your personal preferences and all come into play, but there are so many skills that you can learn only from writing mock tests. For example, stress management, time management, adapting to a new kind of paper or a new question. There is so much that only this one thing can teach you. So this is something I believe should be constant in your preparation, and do give a lot of time to this during your preparation, because I truly believe that this is one of the most important aspects of preparation. So right, the when's the right time to start writing mock tests? This is something that is a common question. I also used to think about it, but I don't think there's a right time to start. I remember the first full portion mock test that I wrote was before the syllabus was even completed in class. And it's not like I did very well in it. I scored like sub 6. I think I scored sub 600, sub 500. I don't remember my score also, but I didn't do well. I just wrote it to know how a full portion paper looks like, and how are the challenges of time management, stress management, etc. different in a full portion paper compared to the part portion tests that I had been writing so far. So coming to this, obviously full portion tests is something you can start writing, or start writing with proper effectiveness and efficiency only once the syllabus is done, right? But that doesn't mean you can't start off before that. So one thing that you can do, and which I believe is very useful, is start writing those part syllabus tests, unit tests, or whatever it is called. The thing is, many of us, like I, at least I came from a school background in the sense I didn't have any foundation coaching in ninth and 10th by choice. I didn't want to go for that. I did have some experience solving MCQs because I used to write olympiads and all, but if you don't have that experience, then a shift from solving subjective type questions to solving MCQs can seem like a very sudden shift, a sudden shift in perception, mentality, everything. And it may take time to acclimatize to that. So if you don't start writing tests right from the start, it is something that you'll have to get used to later, and it will take time for you to get used to it. So that's why the first thing I would say is start writing part portion tests, the ones with like 3-4 chapters per syllabus. So start with that's the first important thing. So the most sorry, the most important thing about these is that not only do they give you an opportunity to revise whatever you've read until then, but also as the usually there's the system of like after 3 unit tests you have like a major test, right, which combines the portion of the last 3 tests kind of thing. Like where I studied in my coaching center was like that. In most places it's like that. So the advantage you derive excuse me, the advantage you derive from that is that you get used to writing tests of progressively larger syllabus. Because when it comes to the final exam, you won't be able to revise everything the day or in the last 2-3 days before the exam, right? You need to be able to rely on your past memory from when you've revised it before. So that's why this system, I believe, prepares you for that. The second thing, now coming to full portion mock tests, again, I maintain I that there is no right time to start. The sooner the better. The, I think when it comes to frequency of writing mock tests, initially I just wrote like one mock test every 1 month, or 1 month I think, because like I wasn't prepared. They had just finished the portion. There was still like a year left, I think. At that time it seemed like there was some 8 months or so, but then there were like constant postponements of the exam owing to COVID. So net later on it was like there was a year to go, and I still had time to revise. So I didn't really write full portion mock test that much. I was sticking to those unit tests or whatever, which I wrote once or twice a week. Later on, I think I started writing mock tests. Like my intensive phase of writing mock tests started somewhere around 3 4 months before the exam, I suppose. So I started writing. Initially it was like 1 or 2 a week, and then in the last 1 or 2 months it was, I think, one a day almost. Oh yeah, pretty much one a day. That was my target, the rate at which I should be writing mock tests. So the more you write, the better. And I really believe that it should kind of reach a stage where you're sick of writing mock tests, because at that point you'll know you have written so many, right, by then, that you would have been exposed to like the entire spectrum of question papers. Like you would have faced easy papers where the important thing is not to get complacent or not to get distracted. You would have written moderate papers, which is like a good balance of everything. You would have written difficult papers where you need to learn to let go of the questions which you know you can't solve, rather than sit there and keep on thinking about the same question while there are five others you could have solved in the same amount of time. So you need to learn to let go. You need to prioritize. So and the lengthy papers, where if you manage your time effectively, you could probably attempt everything, but again, managing time effectively is something that takes practice, right? So you keep writing as many as you can, because it will ensure that there's nothing which can turn up on the final exam day that will surprise you. Finally, when it comes to analysis, it goes without saying that writing mock tests is worthless if you do not analyze the paper. So when it comes to analysis, what I'd say is, know what you're looking for, right? For example, when I wrote the first mock test, when I had not prepared I was not prepared for a full portion mock test, honestly. At that point I did not pay much attention to my scores. A little bit, obviously, that's natural. वो हो ही जाता है कि मतलब the better you score, the better you feel, right? But don't really pay much attention to the score if you weren't prepared and there's time to go. Look at the other things that you can the knowledge that you can derive from that. For example, paper attempting strategy, like which subject to do first. So I used to attempt biology first, physics last, towards the beginning, but then towards the end and in the final paper also, I attempted physics first and then biology at the end. So I found out that is what was most comfortable for me, and I came to know this because I had written tests where I had tried all the different paper attempting strategies that were available, and I found out what I was most comfortable with. However, do not change your strategy in the last few months. Like when there's only a few months left for the paper, stick to whatever you find comfortable, stick with it throughout, so that you get used to writing the paper that way. You don't want surprises on the last day where suddenly you have to change your um, paper attempting strategy. And later on, when you have prepared properly to some extent at least, and you are expecting a certain score, right, then start looking at the kind of questions that went wrong, or the unit from which questions are going wrong. For example, what I mean by kind of questions is that in physics is the best example. Are you making conceptual mistakes, like you didn't get the concept right, so you weren't able to solve a numerical based on it? Because if that's the case, you need to go back and revise that concept from NCERT, from a reference book, or from an online lecture, whatever you wish, whichever is most effective for you. Revise the concept, do a few questions on it, and then come back to see if you have a better grasp of it. In my case particularly, it was more of theoretical questions that used to go wrong. I used to consider physics my strong subject, but if I didn't score well, I found out it was usually because I didn't get the theoretical questions right, which I believe you can only learn properly from NCERT. Like if there's a theoretical question, physics most likely is from NCERT. So I came to know that that's where I'm weak, and I need to brush up on NCERT physics. So that's the my final point to make here. Excuse my handwriting, I've not used a stylus before. So that's about all that I have to say. These are the most important things to summarize. Write part syllabus tests from the start. Then when you feel like you're ready to take on a challenge and understand how to face a full portion test, not necessarily solve all the questions in it, but at least start learning what's the approach to a full portion test, start writing full portion test, and no matter what test you write, know what you're looking for. If you were prepared for that test properly, then see then you have to pay attention to your score and see whether you went wrong. Like, did you think you were prepared but you weren't because maybe you had a false understanding of some concepts? And if you weren't prepared and you wrote it for the experience, then see about things like stress management, time management. How often were you getting distracted during the paper, whether you're able to maintain focus for those 3 hour 20 minutes, right? So that's about it, and it's a general thing, and you'll pick it up soon as you keep writing more and more. It becomes second nature as you write more, not to worry. So thank you very much. That's it from me, and good luck with your preparation.